Ready? And they're finished. Okay. They're working on it. That one is down. They're just finishing up this one. No, when they're finished. Okay. Foundation. I need to list the name. No, I have to wait till they're done. Remember, it's being live streamed, so I don't want them in the background. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience this morning. I am Thelma Richard, Head of Civil Service, and your chair for this morning's brief ceremony. I am now asking everyone to stand for the national anthem.
O land of beauty, a country where peace abounds, thy children
and seating for the prayer by Miss Joyanne Mills. Standing, sorry.
Shall we pray? Eternal God, this morning we come to you with a heart of gratitude. We thank you for your blessings. We thank you for your unconditional love. It is your breath in our lungs, God. That's why we're on the land of the living today. We give you thanks and we give you praise, mighty God, for you deserve all the glory and all the honor. We thank you for this beautiful day, for in your word says, this is the day that the Lord have made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you, God, that we can come as a people to worship you and give you thanks in spirit and in truth. We thank you that we are remembered as a people for our hard work that we have labored, that on this day we come back to say thank you. We thank you for those, God, who make the sacrifice and the dedication and the commitment to make this day a special day today. We ask you that you will continue to shower us with blessings and that you will continue to look over us, God, for it's because of you we are here today. I ask you to bless this proceeding. Continue that your presence will be among us and the love will continue to show, God, among us, your people, for this is our beautiful nation. Father, we thank you and we bless you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Mrs. Mills. Everyone, please be seated. I once again extend a warm welcome to everyone. I extend a warm welcome to the Honorable Prime Minister, who championed us being here today. Welcome to the Honorable Attorney General Garth Wilkin, to the Honorable Conris Maynard, and Minister of Public Works, Information Technology and Post. Welcome to the Honorable Cabinet Secretary Marcus Natter, and I want to say a special welcome to First Lady Mrs. Drew. Thank you for being here with us today. Welcome is extended to the Pension Task Force, who had worked diligently over the last few months. It's about over 1 year that we have been at this, so I would like to extend welcome to them so that we can be here this morning to ensure that you can collect your checks. Welcome to our permanent secretaries who will be taking the charge forward to ensuring that our GAEs are well informed when we ask you to come out to these information sessions to make sure that they are here to hear the good news of what will be coming for them as well. And welcome to you, the pensioners, our new GAEs. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Extend a round of applause for all our new GAE pensioners. I am delighted to be here with you this morning. This morning is a historic occasion as we mark the commencement of the payment of a pension for GAEs. We want to say thank you for your years of service to the people, a promise made and a promise kept. The promise was envisioned many years ago, and now under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, it has come full circle, and we are here to ensure that our people retire with dignity and they are paid their monthly pensions. Ladies and gentlemen, we will not keep you too long. We understand that this is a very hot day, but we want to ensure that our pensioners can collect their checks, that you can crowd the banks, that you can deposit your checks or cash your checks as you please. And so help me welcome Mr. Levi Bradshaw, Accountant General, who has been here at the inception of the Pension Task Force. He has corralled his team at the Treasury to punch out the numbers, short notice every time we have called. So please help me welcome him to give a brief overview and remarks on the new plan.
Good morning, everyone. Madam Chairperson, please allow me to adopt the protocol that you have so ably established. And further permit me, I further seek your permission to recognize the presence of our Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew. Other members of the Cabinet, members of the Pensions Task Force, pensioners, new government auxiliary employees, former employees, new pensioners, I especially welcome you. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, good morning. It is with a sense of pride that I'm here this morning to participate in this ceremony, to bring brief opening remarks. I've been at this game for a very, very long time. I've served in the public service for almost 40 years. I look young. I've started early. And, this particular initiative would have started in 2007. And most of you would have heard of Mr. Elvis Newton. He was our head of public service. He was one of those persons who was at the forefront of this initiative. So in April 2007, the government of the day, it was a Labour administration, felt it was important for us to basically level the playing field, offer a fair and better opportunity to our weekly paid employees. We previously referred to them as non-established employees. The government went with the employees at Warner Park, and a number of commitments were made to the employees. Among those commitments were that they will move to change the name from non-established workers to government auxiliary employees. They also promised that their retirement age will move to age 62. Promise number 3 was that the GAEs would be paid a pension upon retirement. Today, many, many years since, it's 17 years, but we are seeing the fulfillment of that commitment that was made. And we must give some applaud to our Prime Minister. I said to you that I've been at this game for a long time, and many efforts were made to bring this to fruition. But again, I must applaud Dr. Drew for his determination to ensure that this promise that was made so many years ago has been fulfilled. The government would have put in place after the meeting of April 2007 the legal framework for this particular initiative. So in 2012, 5 years after 2007, they would have passed 2 bits of legislation, the Pensions Amendment Act of 2012 and the Government Auxiliary Employees Act of 2012 as well, which formed the basis for this initiative. It took us from 2012 to now 2024, almost 12 years, to reach to this point. We would have engaged the services of the actuaries to assist us in doing the assessment to ensure that this particular initiative can be funded by the state. Although the government is eager to provide you with that particular support that you are entitled to based on your service to our country, it was important that we do the assessments to ensure that this thing is sustainable and that when we start, we'll be able to continue to meet this commitment. I'm pleased to report that we are in a position to meet this obligation. The assessment has been done, and I'm satisfied based on the reports that I have seen that this particular initiative is a good initiative, and the government is in a position to meet this obligation going forward. So many of our pensioners, therefore, would have received a letter indicating to you that you have been recommended and approved by the Cabinet of the Government of St. Kitts and Nevis to receive a pension. And in our letter, we deliberately wrote that you will receive that pension for the rest of your life. And that's very important. I've had the privilege really to work very closely with a number of GAEs, especially those persons who work at the government printry, many of whom regrettably have gone along to the great beyond. But their commitment, their willingness to go well beyond the call of duty stuck with me. And many of those persons, among my staff, I will say that they're waiting for this day. And I'm so really pleased that today I am still alive and I will be able to take the message to them whenever my time comes, that the promise that was made has been fulfilled. So in closing, I would like to record my gratitude to all who have participated in this exercise of reforming public sector pensions from 2007 to present. I would really want to record my satisfaction and gratitude to the team at the Treasury for their support and the support of all who would have served on the Pension Task Force and indeed the Pensions Reform Committees over the years. It is my view, and it has always been my firm belief, that all government auxiliary employees must be allowed to retire with dignity. Person would have worked, and I'll just make one final point. Having looked at this exercise, it was our Prime Minister who insisted that if the government is putting in place a pension plan where persons have to contribute, persons like myself who would have been serving prior to 2012 are entitled to a pension that we have not contributed towards. He made the point and he argued, and we agreed with him after some discussion among ourselves that he was correct, that if I did not contribute to my pension plan, why should somebody who contributes should get less than me? We accepted that argument, and I'm pleased to report that based on the support that we have received from the actuaries, that persons who would find themselves under the new pension plan would not be worse off than persons who are on the old plan. Thank you for taking time to listen, and it is really my pleasure to be here and to witness this occasion. All the very best to all of our new pensioners.
Thank you, Mr. Bradshaw. Thank you for sharing with us recent just now, but also thank you for always bringing your knowledge and experience to the table and your team whenever we called. And I want everyone to help me to welcome the Prime Minister, who would have sent us back to the drawing board several times, him and his cabinet colleagues, when we bring one plan to him and we said, look, this is what we came up with, this is what we think is good. He said, no, it's not good enough. And they sent us back. And trust me, gave us a lot of headaches. But we are here today with a plan that we think that is good for you, that he has championed. Please help me welcome the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Frew.
To all, good morning. Today should really be a party in the streets. You agree? Today is a good day for you, the workers of St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm happy to see so many of you here this morning. Let me, of course, recognize the head table, those who are members of the committee and forged this initiative and brought it to a reality. Our Accountant General, Mr. Bradshaw, and our Head of Service, Ms. Richards. Allow me also, of course, put your hands together for them. They work hard. And they put up with my stress. I want to also thank here with us members of the cabinet, because without their support and their dedication, this could not have been possible. So I want to recognize the Honorable Conris Maynard, Leader of Government Business in our Parliament. I want to recognize also the one who is responsible for the legal aspect of this, our Attorney General, Honorable Garth Wilkin, and our Cabinet Secretary, who makes sure that this is on the Cabinet's agenda each time that we had to discuss it, Dr. Marcus Natter. And I want to recognize all of the PSAs who are here this morning. And I also want to recognize Austin Edinburgh, who is here, who contributed as well, and all of the PSAs who are here, who would have put forward their people, the names, to make sure that we get it right. I see right in front here we have PS from Tourism, Ms. Wharton, and we also have the CPO, Ms. Deisha Dore whose department is working tirelessly hard to make sure that this comes to a reality. I want to say to all of us this morning that I had the opportunity to work with many of you. I see Gracie here, who was the secretary at the Bastia High School. I see Alcenda here, who I know used to be an environmental worker. He was also my patient, but was dedicated to his work. I see those like Wingrove, who used to work as a technician at the Public Works Department. I see our people here from Keon as well, Claudette, who is here, who used to work as an attendant going to the homes of those who need it. I can go on and on and on. I see Miss Mills here right in front of you, who worked as a maid at the JNF for many, many years. And if I did not call your name, it is not because I want to miss your name. It's just that it's so many of you that it is not possible. But the fact that so many of you have showed up tells me what this means to you. You have worked hard. You agree? You dedicated yourself. Some of you used to get up 4 o'clock in the morning to work, correct? While the rest of us were sleeping, some of you were up 4 o'clock in the morning making sure that we wake up to clean streets and a clean environment, correct? Many of you work in different areas in the government. Let me tell you a number of things that you did. You were our maids at the hospital. You were our environmental workers and cleaners in and around the offices. Some of you work as sanitation workers, orderlies, food service workers at our hospitals, school meal workers, those at the quarry, public works, water department, traffic wardens, and the list goes on and on and on. You put in hard work, and you must agree, and everybody must agree, if you put in the hard work, you should be rewarded. You agree with that? For hard work should be compensated. So today is a good day, a great day, and we celebrate a landmark achievement for our beloved nation and its hard-working people, you. Today, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party administration fulfilled its solemn promise to our government auxiliary employees, or the GAEs. Today, we right any wrongs that were written in the past, and we honor the commitment and dedication of those who have tirelessly served our nation without the assurance of a secure future. We want to say that it was a Labour administration who came up with the idea to institute this. And it was my commitment and our commitment to make sure that this comes to reality. So today, our GAEs are the backbone of our public services. You are our traffic wardens, ensuring the safety of our children on the way to school. You are our environmental workers, keeping our streets, drains, and alleyways clean. You are our messengers, delivering vital documents across our nation securely. You are our drivers, custodians, technicians, and more. In other words, your work is as vital as any other worker in the civil service. For too long, you have served without the guarantee of a pension, a basic right that was unjustly denied you, and a basic right that must be corrected and be in place as of today. So prior to 2021, GAEs received a gratuity calculated using a formula, recognized and rewarded their years of service. However, and I must point it out, that under the last administration, a grave injustice was done to the GAE workers. An altered formula was presented, and it cut your gratuity by 2/3. In other words, if you were to receive $100, this was slashed to a mere $33.33. So if you receive your gratuity after 2021, under the past administration, your gratuity was cut by 2/3, meaning if you were to get $15,000, you would only take home $5,000. We said that that was unjust, and we corrected it. It is the first thing that we corrected. And many of you would remember that we had a ceremony at NEMA where we gave you the balance of your monies that you work hard for. Is anybody here who benefited from that thus far? See, the hands are going up. Two-thirds of what you rightfully deserve was denied. This was not just a financial cut. It was a blow to your dignity and recognition as a worker here in St. Kitts and today, and in St. Kitts and Nevis. So today, we rectify this travesty. We restore the dignity of our GAEs and honor your hard work and dedication to our nation. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party administration has always stood for supporting and empowering the working class. And today, we reaffirm this commitment. And that is why I want to thank the administration of the past for bringing this framework forward. Our government auxiliary employees, formerly known as non-established workers, now have a streamlined and coordinated framework for your appointment, terms and conditions of employment, discipline, and dismissal. Most importantly, we have established the Government Auxiliary Employees Commission to extend pension coverage to you, the employees, ensuring that your future is more secure. We prioritized the welfare of government employees by reinstating the gratuity payments and pension eligibility for government auxiliary workers. We have operationalized pension for all government auxiliary employees. What does that mean? It means that if you are a government auxiliary worker right now, on retirement, you will receive your full gratuity and the pension that goes with it until you die. These employees, the GAEs, will now be eligible to receive their pension upon completion of your years. For those already aged 62, monthly pension payments begin immediately. For those who are 62, monthly pension payments begin immediately. It means, therefore, that when you leave here today, you would leave not empty-handed, but with your check. And because in the last budget debate in December of 2023, I made the announcement that it would start in 2024, you will not only receive your pension check for this month of July, but we will back pay you from January 2024 up to today. In other words, you will be taking home an accumulation of 7 checks today. Seven checks in one lump sum payment. That sounds good? That sounds good? For those under age 62, monthly payments will commence upon reaching the age of 62. If a GAE worker unfortunately passes away before reaching age 62 and meets the minimum requirements, their beneficiary will receive 1 year's pension. So it means, therefore, that if you were to pass away before you can have your pension. Your family members who are left behind will get 1 year's pension to be delivered to them. So today, July 2024, July 25th, 2024, is a significant day in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis. That is why we said that the history must be marked by blocking the road, so that people will always remember that the GAE workers were so significant that when their pension commenced, the government had to block the road. And not only that, we did not want this type of ceremony to take place any old place. Acknowledge your work as well. And so we are extremely happy. We are extremely content that we were able to put in the work that was necessary to bring this to fruition. To bring this part of the legislation to be enacted was not an easy road. It was a challenging road. It was a difficult road. Tough decisions had to be made. And I want to thank you for your support, that as we made those tough decisions, you supported what we wanted to achieve. But for me, the decision was not a tough one. For us, the decision was not a tough one. And I say that because I want to speak about the principle from which this came from. To do the work and to get it through was tough, but the decision was not a tough one. The decision was not tough because we believe in the principle that hard work must be rewarded. The decision was not a tough one because we believe that you are as important as anyone else. Whether you wear a t-shirt and a short pants to do your job, or whether you wear a jacket and tie to do your job, you are as important. And so when it comes to importance, there is no distinction. Maybe in what we do, there might be a distinction. But let nobody ever make you feel like you are less than anyone else. Vision to put this in place and ensure that you get what is deserving to you was not a difficult one based on the principles on which we based it. And today, I want to say to all of you, and to say to the nation of St. Kitts and Nevis, to say to your families, to say to your co-workers, to say to your communities, that today things have changed and the GAE workers will receive what they deserve, and the justice that is required is now in play. So as you collect your check, have a little party with it. I'm not telling you to drink any alcohol. Share a drink with your neighbor, your ex-co-worker, because I think that nobody will take home today no less than $2,800. And as a result of that, continue to support your country in any way that you can. And leave here today with your heads up and say to the nation, we have contributed and justice has come under Dr. Drew, the Labor Administration, on the 25th of July, 2024. May God bless all of you. GAE workers, justice has come, and you will receive your well-earned pension. Thank you. May God bless all of you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you very much for sharing with our people the good news of their monthly pension as they go forward for the rest of your lives. Let me reiterate that. It is for the rest of your life. And I also want to point out that this has nothing to do with your Social Security pensions. That is separate. This is in addition to your Social Security pension. I would like to recognize the presence of the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas. Thank you. Now, for the real reason you're here, the distribution of checks. So right now, I'm going to have just a symbolic distribution of a few checks, and then we're going to ask the rest of you to remain seated. Someone will come to you, get your information, and you will be ushered inside to collect your checks directly from the persons from the Treasury. But now I'm going to invite the Honorable Prime Minister to come forward to deliver checks for several persons that I'm going to call on. As I call, please come forward. Once you accept your checks, a member from Human Resources will take you inside to sign, to say you get it. Because we don't want you to come back next week and say you didn't get it. So we'll take you inside to sign, make sure you get it. So let's start with Mr. Livingston Paris.
Yes, I does the blessing. I does the blessing. Father God blessing.
Livingston Paris, thank you.
I does the blessing. I does the blessing. Them can't stop me. I am blessed. I am blessed. Every day of my life I am blessed. When I wake up in the morning and I lay my head to rest. Every day of my life I am blessed. Give me up, me say me praise God. Straight, make money. Money it has. Fun bad mind. God knows me. Me love woman.
Next we have Miss Cynthia Brown. Cynthia Brown. Cynthia Brown, are you here? Oh, she's making her way. Thank you, Mrs. Brown. Next, we'd like to invite Eustace Liburd. Eustace Liburd. We'd like to say thank you to Mr. Eustace Liburd. Next, I would like to invite Miss Sonia Williams. Sonia Williams. Next, I would. Next, Miss Baby Thomas. Baby Thomas. Sylvia Berridge. Sylvia Berridge. And Williams Alcindor. Thank you to Mr. Williams Alcindor.
One heap of them are wicked, so what them in a rate. You know them want back the little food from me plate, but I got over devil a hell with them straight.
Thank you. Thank you, Prime Minister. I would like to invite the Honorable Conris Maynard now to hand out checks. Keith Maynard. Keith Maynard.
Him watch over me. So when the wicked rise, judgment feed them. For 10 years, me a make hits. Someday I had a sit down, but me a tour. Hands up from you, now bow stand. Hold on, make me pick up me friend them.
Pamela Wilson. We'd like to say thank you to Pamela Wilson.
Everything straight. Sing. Every day of my life.
Pamela Wilson, she's making her way up.
When I wake up in the morning and I lay my head to rest, every day of my life I am blessed. Me say me praise God straight, make money, money it has, fun bad mind. God knows me love woman, me father him, that's why me born. Enough of them a try stop me fly past them straight. One heap of them a wicked, so what them in a rate. You know
Thank you to Ms. Wilson. We now like to welcome Lorna Warner. Lorna Warner, thank you to Lorna Warner. Cheryl Phillip, I'd like to invite Ms. Cheryl Phillip. Thank you to Mrs. Phillip. Caprine Webb Adams. I'd like to extend thank you and invite Caprine Webb Adams to receive her check. Thank you, Ms. Adams, Webb Adams. Miss Violet Adams. Thank you to Miss Violet Adams. Violet Harris, sorry. Violet Harris. Miss Violet Harris. Thank you. And last one I'm asking the Honorable Minister to hand out is to Mr. Clement Ritchie. Mr. Clement Ritchie. Clement Ritchie. Oh, he's on his way. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. Thank you. And thank you, Minister. Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. Mr. Ritchie came with blessings for everybody this morning. I'd like to welcome now the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas. Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas. Miss Annette Pemberton. Annette Pemberton. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Mrs. Pemberton. Now we welcome Miss Sylvia Maynard. Mrs. Sylvia Maynard. Thank you, Mrs. Maynard. Thank you, Mrs. Maynard. And now we welcome Calvin Blake. Thank you, Mrs. Maynard. I welcome now Mr. Calvin Blake. Mr. Blake, you don't look old enough to be getting a pension. Alex Maynard. We welcome now Miss Alex Govaya. Alex Govaya, apologies. Miss Govaya, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Govaya. And now we welcome Cheryl Vanterpool. Cheryl Vanterpool. Thank you, Mrs. Vanterpool. Thank you, Mrs. Vanterpool. And thank you to the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas. And just in time, I would like to welcome the Honorable Masha Henderson to hand out the last set of symbolic checks to our pensioners. I would like to invite Miss Florence Anjo. Florence Anjo. Miss Anjo is making her way up. Thank you, Mrs. Anjo. I'd like to welcome Mrs. Dolores Webb. Dolores Webb. Thank you, Ms. Webb. Make sure she has her document. This is Miss Webb's daughter accepting on her behalf, for those of you wondering why Miss Webb looks so young. Next, we have Miss Sarah Percival. Sarah Percival. Thank you to Miss Percival. I'd like to welcome now Royston Bernier. Royston Bernier. Thank you to Mr. Bernier. And we welcome now Mr. Denzel Sadler. Denzel Sadler. Thank you to Mr. Sadler. Another gentleman that looks too young to be receiving a pension check this morning. They've been taking very good care of themselves. Thank you, Minister. And thank you to everyone. This brings us to the end of the ceremonial distribution of checks. However, we will move into the distribution of all the other checks. Only persons who will be receiving checks will be allowed inside of government headquarters to accept their checks. But allow me, as we bring this session to a close, to extend thanks to the pensioners, to you first. You have been very patient with us throughout this process. We thank you for your faith in this administration to be back here, and in the fullness of time, we are here. Gratitude is extended to the Honorable Prime Minister and the members of Cabinet who sent us back to the drawing board many times to ensure we worked out a formula that was most equitable for all of you. That redounded in a greater benefit for the greatest number of people. To the Pension Task Force, I say thank you. You were charged with bringing the intentions of the Cabinet to life. Thank you for ensuring that the proposal was technically sound, and thank you for your patience with the Cabinet as well. Thank you to the Human Resource Management Department, the Treasury Department, and the team from the Constituency Empowerment Department that came forward without even being asked to assist with today's ceremony. And thank you to all of you who came out to mark this historic event. Last and certainly not least, we engaged the services of an actuarial firm, and were lucky enough to be assigned the actuary who has worked on this plan from its inception, Mr. Derek Osborne. He is not with us today, but we do want to extend thank you to Mr. Osborne. He has been very active in this process to ensure accuracy and longevity of a plan that will work not just for you, but for all retired GAEs, for all active GAEs that are still in the system. So to the GAEs that are still with us, that are still working and still toiling, we will be resuming our information sessions shortly. Your PSs will ensure that you are aware of the dates and times, and that you are present to hear the good news of what is in store for you in terms of your gratuity and your pension. This brings us to a close. However, I would like to ask our new pensioners to remain in their seats. Someone will seat you inside for processing. We'll take your IDs, make sure your IDs are available, make sure your banking information is available, so that your next payment and your payments going forward will be directly deposited into your bank accounts. You won't have to come back into town every single month for your checks. For persons who would like to ask questions or make a query, we have set up a pension query desk in the Prime Minister's office. You will be having access to a person to ask your questions. There are forms available, and persons are currently available to answer questions for anyone who think that they should have received a pension, but they're not sure what happened. There is a form for you to complete. We will do our investigation, and if you are to get a pension, we will ensure that you get your pension. So once again, thank you to everyone. Be safe and have a great day. Thank you.
Whether it be national security, the water issue, energy issue, education, health, whatever it may be, that you become an active part of it. We are on a path to achieve a sustainable island state. We can really do it. What does that mean? Cheaper energy, lower electricity costs. It means water 24/7. It means a nice hospital with upgraded services. It means better roads. It means more local, wholesome food. These are some of the things that a sustainable island state means. It means better living. That is what we are really pushing towards. And to say to all who are listening, St. Kitts and Nevis is well on its way.
St. Kitts and Nevis has made significant strides in implementing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Our development initiatives over the past 2 decades have targeted accelerating economic growth with a focus on employment, resulting in a fall in the levels of poverty, improved social services, and expanded social protection for poor and vulnerable households. However, the pandemic caused massive disruption to people's lives and affected the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals in areas such as poverty reduction, good health care, quality education, decent work, and economic growth. St. Kitts and Nevis's new National Development Planning Framework, which guides the country's development planning for the next 15 years, is well aligned with the Sustainable Development